Greetings and shalom, brethren. It's nice to meet you again on this video. Last time I have shared about my personal testimony, how I start this class on studies on Daniel. I just go too fast and rushy. At this moment, I will try to go slower and I'll just cover the first week on the study of Daniel. I'll share a screen and I hope that this will benefit you somehow in knowing better how we study online in Andrews University, especially on seminarian classes online. So as I have shared before, I'm going to share the part of Learning Hub that we use as our main application on this class. And here's the subject that I'm taking at this moment. Studies in Daniel. I've mentioned before that this is only for MA in religion class, even though there is also available for the 3 credits. I'm taking the 2 credits only. Furthermore, here's the useful links that we have about Learning Hub, how to videos. I've already put the tick mark, means that I have already read and watched the videos. So also the seminary library. Here you can link yourself to Andrews University Library. And here's the academic integrity standards, which we should follow in accordance to the standard that a student should have. And here's the standards of Andrews University written work. And also here's the handout on this class given by Professor Dukan. I will show you the first page of this handout. Okay, so this is the handout from Professor Dukan. This is the first page. And we are studying this on the first week of the class. Personally, it's about 10 principles how to read the Holy Scriptures. So the main point, the main idea, the main purpose, the main motive why I share or make this video is only to share the blessings that I get from my classes so that all of us will be blessed, shall be blessed, and we can continue also to be blessings for others. That's the main purpose of this video that I make at this moment. And all those videos that I have made before. So here is the 10 principles how to read the Holy Scriptures according to Professor Dukan. If you didn't know who is Professor Dukan, you can go back to my previous videos regarding Daniel, studies in Daniel, the first and second week. You can just go there. So the first one, he puts this into 2 parts, the A part and the B part, and each part have 5 points. Attention to the text is the A part. We need to read carefully the text that we are reading on a certain paragraph. And I'm considering the first part of Daniel, which is Daniel chapter 1, is the first reading that we have on this class. Read carefully. Second, read slowly. Third, read repeatedly. Fourth, read aesthetically. 5, read intertextually. If you follow the class, you will know why these 5 attention to the text really will help you to know better, learn deeper, and understand more than just reading it just in a second or maybe in rushy time. Give your time and allocate your time for your Bible reading that you will benefit more from the reading. Don't just read it without careful reading, or you read it so fast, you don't want to repeat your reading and you didn't really read it in the aesthetic way. You just read it according to your own will, your own desire. We should also read it in this 5 manner that we have here. And then the B part is about attention to yourself. So we need to read it. I mean, read the Bible. We should read it spiritually and then read it intelligently, read the Bible corporately, read the Bible existentially, and read it ethically. If you want to know more, I guess you need to take the class. Okay, let's go back to the Learning Hub. So that's the Dukan handouts that I have shared. And we have this class on the first meeting, and we have this Zoom meeting like every week on Thursday afternoon. We take it around 4:30 p.m. during Bavarian Springs time. That is like 4:30 in the morning here in Jakarta, Indonesia. So that's the first meeting I had on January 13, yes. Here it was 5 p.m. and later on the second week, it was being changed to 4:30. So that's the first class we have on 13th of January, meeting with other participants who participate on this class, teachers. We have like 3 teachers, and the one who taught us is Professor Alexej Murach. He's the lecturing professor regarding this learning hub part, while Dr. Dukan is the one who taught us as a lecturing professor through the video. I've shared the part of the video on the previous video. So I'm going to read to you this first week and the instruction on the lesson 1. Okay, so here's the instruction on the first week, what we should do. Lesson 1, this is the introductory lesson for the course. Before getting to the book of Daniel itself, we will go over 10 foundational principles that I have shared before on the handouts on how to read the scriptures. Then as we move into the book of Daniel, you will learn about its importance and original setting. As you do that, become acquainted with the book's 2 main divisions. What are the 2 main divisions? They were the wisdom of Daniel and the prophecy of Daniel. So here's the outcomes supposed to be. First one is explain the principles for studying scripture. The second one is discuss the structure and major themes in the book of Daniel. And the readings that we are obligated reading mandatory is the book Secrets of Daniel, and we need to read the prologue and chapter 1 on this book. And there is also the Hebrew text for 2 credits, 2 credit students. I am the one who should do that. And also there is also 3 credit students, but I'm taking that 2 credit part. Here's the assignments. We have online interaction. That's the Zoom meeting that we have every Thursday afternoon, and also the reading report. So I'll show also the part of the reading report that we report every week on the reading. So I will show you a glimpse of the video of the first week that we have. Okay. So it's
with the world, is a touch with creation. He's a human person. So what you see in chapter 1, this is precisely what is happening in the whole book of Daniel. You have this first section, which is about wisdom, and the second section, which is about prophecy and takes you out of the world. Let me just say one word about this, kind of interesting. And we'll come back to that, and because this is kind of recurring.
Okay, so there you have the preview of Dr. Dukan teaching on the first week of this class. I will go back to the next part, which is the reading report. So as you have seen here, I have already submitted the reading report on January 8th, 2022. I'll just share to you the reading report so that we can be blessed together. So here's the reading report. Okay, it is exactly like the instruction given. Reading report, first week on the book Secrets of Daniel, the prologue and chapter 1 part, page 7 until page 23. So here is what I wrote down on this reading report. I like the story of King Sagarshka, who honored the memory of the prophet Daniel, and under his supervision, the villagers chained the coffin to the middle of a bridge at an equal distance from both banks. Daniel was then for everybody. One more thing I like on the prologue part is when the writer concludes that the book of Daniel is for all by saying that the book of Daniel is universal and deserves the attention of all. The next paragraph, then we continue to the first chapter of the book of Daniel. The writer divided the story into 4 parts. First, the deportation. Second, the cultural alienation. Third, the resistance. And the last part is the liberation. And then the deportation part explained what was the cause of the exile to Babylon and how God was in control of all that situation that was going on that time. Dr. Dukan really is a good writer and a very detailed describer of the event that took place on the process of the exile. So the book is really wonderful if you have time to read it. It will give you much more deeper knowledge, experience that you will never get by reading the other books, especially on the commentary of Daniel. Dr. Dukan just give you a glimpse of Hebrew perspective because he is still a Hebrew guy, but he gives a glimpse of things that you didn't get from general teacher, which is not a Hebrew person. I will proceed. The cultural alienation described of how the 4 Hebrew captives was being forced to familiar themselves with Babylonian culture and forget their former Jewish custom, as they were the least among the majority on the best school in Babylon. They got their name changed. Yes, we know that. Their education changed, and their diet also almost been changed, if not for the determination of Daniel and friends only to have vegetables and water as their food. The resistance is where Daniel adds some Hebrew alphabets in writing of their names in the book of Daniel as an unseen or unnoticed resistance of being changed fully to be an idol worshiper. So if you notice the name that been given to Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Belshazzar. So Daniel somehow managed to put some Hebrew alphabets that will just change the meaning of their name, not to worship the gods of Babylon, but instead still put the element of Hebrew God, God the creator of heaven and earth, in their names. So we will proceed. The liberation was when King Nebuchadnezzar found those 4 Hebrew boys to be 10 times better in every task that he given to them, and therefore stood they before the king. This part is where God intervened and gave Daniel and friends science, intelligence, and wisdom needed to remain faithful even in the midst of unfaithful majority. So it's wonderful that even in the midst of unfaithful majority, if you remain faithful, you have a heart with determined, heart that has a determination to be remain faithful, you will continue to be a faithful person, even in the midst of unfaithful majority. At the end, Dr. Dukan closed with this statement. The conclusion of the first chapter alludes to this through its mention of Cyrus, the king associated in the Bible with the return from exile and Israel's salvation. You can read that on 2 Chronicles 36, verse 21 and until 23. And to the divine response to prayers and prophetic predictions in Isaiah 45, verse 1 to 13. Regarding who? Regarding Cyrus. I'm thrilled with the explanation in this book and are eager to know more. So that's the part where we submit our reading report. Here's another part, the blessings that I also want to share with you. It's about the homework that Professor Alex Muraj asked us to do. So he asked us to make our own structure on Daniel chapter 1. So make your own structure, he said. Don't follow what Dr. Dukan have made or any Google page have already made or any other theologian have made. So we are being obligated to make our own structure. So I came out with this structure. So this is the structure of Daniel chapter 2. I'm talking about Daniel chapter 1. So I will try to put this into a more understandable part. So Daniel chapter 1, here's the structure that I get. So I title it, I give the title Between Two Kings. So verse 1 on Daniel chapter 1, if you read in the Bible, it's talking about King Nebuchadnezzar. That's the A part. And then A apostrophe in verse 21 is talking about King Cyrus. Nebuchadnezzar is the king of Babylon and Cyrus is the king of the Persia. So the B part is talking about the King Nebuchadnezzar's God in verse 2. And then B apostrophe in verse 17 until verse 20 is talking about the Hebrew boys' God, where God gave them the knowledge, the science, and everything that they need, the wisdom to be remaining faithful in the midst of unfaithful majority. So in verse 2, God gave the victory to Nebuchadnezzar, but then he brought all the things that he has already looted from Jerusalem into the presence, into the temple of his God. And then the C part is talking about the Chaldeans teaching. This is where the name and also the education, the language was being changed from Hebrew to Chaldeans teaching. And at the C apostrophe part, the four Hebrew boys remains to the Hebrews teaching. It has been implanted in their heart and in their mind and in their lifestyle that they cannot easily change. That's why they say, give us water to drink and vegetables to eat. And it happens that they were 10 times better and 10 times smarter than any other students who are taking the education with them at that moment. And the D part is talking about when Ashpenaz changed their names. Daniel was being changed to Belshazzar. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was changed from the name of Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah. But Ashpenaz thought that he managed to won the heart of these four Hebrew boys. But instead, in verse 9 and 10, God won Ashpenaz's heart. So even in the midst of exaltation in the exile, I mean, these four Hebrew boys managed to brought God with them. I mean, it's not them who brought God, it is God who are being with them. That they, through their influence, manage to work that Aspena's heart belongs to God. And then this is the main point. This is what we also call turning point on Daniel chapter 1. It's about Daniel's purpose in his heart. So you can see, as I give the title Between Two Kings, the question that we should ask ourselves, who is the king that reigned in your heart? So brothers and sisters, I want to close this video with the conclusion about how we put God first and priority in everything that we do. Let God reign in your heart and not king of Babylon or king of Persia or any other king in this world. Let King Jesus, the Prince of Peace, reign in your heart from now until forever. You can read in Revelation chapter 3, verse 19. It says, no, not verse 19, verse 20. I mean, there it was written, I'm standing at the door and knock. If anybody hears my voice and open the door, I will come in and sup with him and him with me. And for your information, brothers and sisters, brethren, everyone, Jesus is knocking at your heart. King Jesus, the Prince of Peace, and also our high priest is knocking at the door of your heart. Open it and let him reign in your heart. Let no other king reign in your heart. Only let one king, who is King Jesus, reign in your heart. And you will notice that you are blessed, and also you'll be blessing for others. Stay healthy, stay blessed, and stay faithful.